Hello, everyone. This is Dan with the Wealth Instinct. I want to share with you my post, A Fixed Mindset Destroys Your Growth Potential. Before I get started, if you could do me a favor and subscribe to my page and click the bell icon so you get updates. So, this post is really, I guess, inspired quite a bit by the book Mindset by Carol S. Dweck. If you haven't read it, put that on your list. Go get it. Go read it. She did do a TED Talk as well, which is good, but the book is really phenomenal, and it's got a lot of great examples and stories, and it really helped me put my own life in perspective a little bit. And I grew up with very much a fixed mindset and had certain beliefs about myself that I thought, oh, I'm a natural athlete and I'm a good student, but I don't really have, I believed that level I had was fixed and that there really wasn't much I could do to change it. And so it limited, because I didn't believe that I could grow. I didn't work as hard as I needed to get to grow and to get to the next level. Things were just kind of easy for me, and I thought, well, that's what that means, right? So um, school was super easy for me up through high school, and then high school as a junior, I was taking calculus, and that's when it finally caught up with me. Calculus was something that I couldn't just breeze through. Go figure, right? Everything else I'd been able to kind of breeze through pretty well, or just pay attention in class, do the homework, and it was good to go. But calculus really challenged me, and I didn't get the help I needed, and didn't go through the learning and struggle. And so then college was really tough for me. I studied mechanical engineering, and um, I could have done a lot better if I had a different mindset. And so reading her book and just changing my beliefs over the years has really helped me to look at growth and struggle in a different light. So, like I said, growing up, I had this belief that people that were talented or successful were just lucky. Like Michael Jordan was a good basketball player because he was a natural athlete and he was just lucky, and that's why he was so good. And I didn't really understand or appreciate his work ethic and what he did for that. Same with Tiger Woods. Like I thought, oh, he's just a natural, he's just lucky. And I had the same beliefs about a lot of people who are successful in different areas of life. I just thought, you know, um, they're just lucky. They're naturals. Um, and more recently, I read a quote. I think was it Michelangelo who said something like, "People call me a genius, but if they saw all the work that I put in, um, and all the struggle I go through," and I'm paraphrasing, they wouldn't think of me as a genius, right? Like if you actually sat down with someone who we call a genius, who's mastered some skill or or some profession or some technique, if you're able to look at all the practice they've put in, I think most of us, we don't see any of that. We don't see all the struggle, all the work, all the pain, all the suffering, all the anguish. We just see the end result and we're like blown away. And if you have a belief that's just luck and you know innate talent, then that's going to affect how hard you work to do things, right? And I remember, this is very much reinforced in our schools. And I remember years ago hearing a NPR story about sort of Western versus Eastern schools, and there was a correspondent who went to a school in Japan, and the students were learning how to draw a three-dimensional cube on paper, and the teacher was trying to show them, and one of the students was really struggling and just not getting it. And so the teacher called him to the front of the class to do it, and this Western reporter is like freaking out because like this is a memory a lot of us who grew up in the U.S. and Western culture, have a fear of being called to the board, and everyone is watching you, and you're doing something and failing, and it's just like this horrible experience that is going to scar you for life, right? That's the mindset, right? And so that's what he's afraid of for this young child who's been called to the front of the class. But what ends up happening really shocks the news correspondent, because as this kid keeps struggling and struggling, all the other kids start helping and supporting him, and they want him to be successful. Um, and then when this kid finally gets it, like it becomes a celebration for the whole class. Like it's a they've all learned from it. They've all grown from it. They've all seen this learning process and how it's a struggle. I've mentioned this before about how there's this old joke about, do you know how to play the violin? Well, I don't know. I never tried. Right? Like you're not going to know how to play a piano or a violin or guitar. Just, we talk about people who are naturals and they play from ear, but they still have to learn how to play. Right? Like there's a process, and anyone can do it, but you've got to take the time to go through it. And if your belief is that some people are naturals and I'm not, you're not going to try. Right? And so that's a belief that is going to have profound effects on you and your life and what you're able to do. And the thing about a fixed mindset is that it really paralyzes you, because you have this fear. What happens is, when you believe that you're smart or you believe that you're a natural athlete, if something happens that questions that belief, it becomes a challenge to your identity, and then you might suffer an identity crisis, right? So if you believe you're smart and someone offers you a test, a very public test that could prove whether you're smart or not, if you think it's too challenging, you might be afraid to try it, because if you fail at it, that means in your mind that you're not as smart as you thought, and everyone's going to see your failure, and it's like overwhelming. Whereas if you have a growth mindset, you look at a challenge as an opportunity to learn and grow, and struggling through it is going to help you to become better. And failure is really just, it's like you tripped on the way to your goal. So what? Like you're climbing this mountain, and at one point you tripped and fell. Okay, fine. You got up and you kept going, right? That's what failure is. It's just a temporary setback. It's just a learning opportunity. It's just recalibrating your approach and what it takes to reach what you want to do. So this is something that I just think is so fundamental and so huge. And the thing is, like, what we don't realize sometimes is we reinforce this belief system with people. Like when you tell a kid or anyone, "Oh, you're so good at that. You're a natural. You're so good at that. Wow, you're so lucky. You're so smart." You're reinforcing this fixed mindset. Whereas, if they do well and you say, "Oh my gosh, you did so well in this test," you must have studied a lot. You must have paid attention in class. When I was talking and you were doing the homework, you must have figured it out and learned it, and look with how that paid off for you. And just the language we use reinforces a fixed or growth mindset, and it has such profound implications throughout your life. It's really a critical one. Failure is how we learn. It's like I always use the example of a baby learning to walk, right? Like imagine a baby that's just sitting on the floor and has never walked suddenly getting up and walking. Like that's not going to happen, right? Like the baby's got to figure out like its own physicality. It's got to not only figure it out but strengthen the muscles that it needs, and strengthen all of the tendons and ligaments and joints and everything, and then program its brain in how to coordinate all this movement. And every move, it's like you've got to go through all these mistakes. You've got to get through all these failures to find that one path. Like the path to success is literally defined by failure and rejection. Every time you bump up against something, you make a little shift, you make a little turn, and those turns and shifts happen because you bumped into some sort of failure or some sort of rejection, and that's what defines your path. It's a temporary setback. It's not something that's going to stop you, as long as you don't let it stop you. But language is very powerful, and the things we tell ourselves and we tell people, like I'm not athletic, I'm not a leader, I'm not a smart person, I'm not this, I'm not that. It's reinforcing that belief, and we're recreating our past, and and it's creating our future, right? So if you want to change your future, you've got to change your language, change your mindset, change your language, and say, wow, I'm not that good at this, but I'm learning and I'm getting better. This is something I do with people all the time when they'll say things, well, I'm not coordinated. Well, you know, you're actually already improved a lot, and you just haven't worked on this a lot, but I can see you're getting better, and if you keep focusing on this, and if you do these things, you're going to continue to develop it, your coordination and your skill and whatever it is they're trying to work on, right? Like just changing the way you talk about it, um, and sort of embracing the struggle and the learning process, is a huge part of it. Learning how to embrace struggle and go through the learning process is like so critical, and this is where it really helps to have a good mastermind group, like a group of people who um, have struggled through something that you're struggling through. And so it's like I remember when I was in school, when I was trying to learn software. You're trying to learn this software and you're reading this book, you're watching videos. Maybe you ask a classmate, but they're learning just like you are, and you have an assignment. An assignment is kind of a simple assignment. It's not a real life example. So you kind of learn the basics of it. But then when I started my first job and I had to use this same software, it's a real world example. It's a real need. So there's a greater pressure to do it. But also, like on the other side of the cubicle, there's a guy who I could say, hey, how do you do this, operation? How do you do this? How do you do that? And having that resource of someone who who was available, who knew the answer, meant that I could learn so much faster and learn so much more quickly. And learning was more not theoretical but practical, right? And so if you're trying to start a business, um, you want to be around people like that. Like so many people get caught up in trying to start a business by themselves and figuring out for themselves. And you don't have to figure it out for yourself. Like you can find a group of people who are working on similar business to you, who have a growth mindset, who want to help you, who want to mentor you, who want to share with you, and who believe in your potential. And this group founded by Jeff Lerner that I'm a part of, Entre Nation, is very much like that. Like it's a very supportive environment of people who are just trying to improve the quality of their life, trying to learn the digital economy, start businesses as primarily as solopreneurs, um, but a lot of them also doing businesses with friends or with other people too, or sometimes a couple will start a business together, and that's really cool to see. But embracing this growth mindset and this idea that in order to learn, that you have the potential to learn and grow, like that's the first thing. You got to believe it, and you do. Like you have so much more potential than you even realize, and it starts with that belief, and then realizing that just because you have the potential doesn't mean that it's easy. Like there's things are hard for a reason, right? There's a reason that not everyone is a millionaire. There's a reason that not everyone can play golf really well. There's a reason that not everyone is a really good athlete. There's a reason that not everyone um, is a master violinist, because those are hard things. Like it's hard for anyone. And when you embrace the belief that you can do it and realize that you need to struggle through it to get it and make those mistakes, and in order to learn the right way, that's what unlocks you, and unleashes you to get on the path of growth and to achieve. So check out the link. Um, I think you'll really love it. It's a pretty cool community and very supportive. And let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and also check out Carol S. Dweck's book, Mindset. All right, take care. We'll talk soon.